Ladies and gentlemen, that will bring us to our next presenter, who studied at the Berklee College of Music and the Boston Conservatory. He began trading stocks 21 years ago in 2001 and learned the art of futures trading. He's been trading for over 20 years and is now considered an expert trader of the news. Here to present how to make an appointment with the market and trade on your schedule is Lee Goldstein of 10minutetrades.com. Welcome back, Lee.
Hey, Rob, thanks for the great. I gotta get you a new introduction.
Hey, if
It's
you like it,
time.
you can absolutely give me a new one, and I will read it. But I
It's
believe everything I read because you can tell in my voice.
it's time. But thanks so much, Rob. I always enjoy coming here, so thanks for introducing me. And I guess I'm ready to go.
Take her away.
Okay. So I want to thank everybody. As always, I love coming on Traders Corner. It's one of my favorite events every month. We get to meet new people. New people come into our trade room, and it's just a great way to expand the education that we're trying to do. So I want to thank everybody for coming. And especially, just like Erin said, I love seeing our members in the room. And I thank you too also for supporting us and for supporting me every single time that I come on Traders Corner. So thank you very much. So today I'm going to talk a couple of different things. I just want to briefly talk about what Erin did, because what Erin showed is what I would call traditional technical analysis. And traditional technical analysis is very powerful, and it's the exact opposite of what we do. And not making any kind of value judgment one way or the other. The great thing about trading is that everybody has a different way of doing what ultimately is to get us to the same point, which is hopefully to make some money. I mean, it's really just that simple. We all want to get to the same point, and there are 100 different ways of getting there. I did a tremendous amount of technical analysis, and for me personally, it was very difficult for me to trade that way. And I found that I enjoyed being a day trader rather than looking at the way the charts were behaving. I wanted to look at the way the event that I was trading was behaving. And so what that meant for me is I became very much drawn to trading the news. And I knew immediately, I first got into this whole method of trading that I'm going to try and teach you about a little bit today. I just got into this whole method of trading events. I was watching a natural gas chart on a Thursday, and it was about 10:25 in the morning, and I had placed an order for a natural gas trade, and for 5 minutes I was making money. The price of natural gas kept going down, and I was making money. And then at 10:30, all of a sudden I looked up and I was down like $800 on one futures contract. I had no idea what happened. And then I realized, I did some research. By the end of the day, I realized I was trading at the exact moment that there was a natural gas storage report. And that taught me you better know what news is going to be in the market when you're trading, especially if you're short-term trading, or you're going to get your head handed to you. But that didn't scare me from trading. It made me want to know all about trading the news, because I saw this incredible move that took place in natural gas, and I knew that I wanted to be part of that move. For months and months and months, I tried to figure out a way to trade natural gas. I looked all over the internet. I looked everywhere for news trading software, and I couldn't find a single thing. Eventually, I found one program. It was a Forex trading program. And then a couple of years later, after doing all of this on my own, I actually found the company that I work for. And I kind of got hooked on their software. I became a member. Obviously, the company's 10-minute trades. We used to be called JOBB back then. And I started writing them letters insisting that they hire me, that they had to have me as an employee. They didn't have a trade room. They were trading the news, and then there was no one to talk to. You would make this trade, and I would subscribe to their reports. And by the time the trade was over, I had nobody to talk to. I didn't know what to do. So I bugged them to death and they hired me. And that's how I wound up here. And I've been at this company for the past 6 years. I've loved every minute of it. And it's my goal today to teach you a little bit about what got me excited about trading the news and trading on my own schedule. I never sit in front of the markets anymore. I never spend time waiting for setups. I'm planning my schedule every week and I'm trading on a specific schedule, and it's a fantastic way to trade. I don't, for me, nothing beats it. If you hate being in the market, and I can tell you this, the more you're in the market, the longer you're in the market, the more you're going to lose. The shorter time you're in the market, the more you're going to make. Especially if you're a day trader or a swing trader. Obviously, some people have to trade long term, but I don't trade long term and I don't want to trade long term. And especially with the markets the way they are today, I want to trade a schedule, an event, the way that I want to trade it. So what we're talking about today is our company is called 10 Minute Trades. I'm the trading director. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the guy that hosts the trade room. Just remember, please, that all the trades I discuss for educational purposes. It's possible to lose money trading futures. We trade a method called appointment-based trading. We use the Ninja Trader platform, and we trade futures, okay? So it's very important to realize that. So Jeff, I will get to everybody's questions. I'll try to do part of my presentation and then bounce between some questions, okay? So we trade appointment-based trading, and what that means is I'm basically going to make an appointment with the market. If you go to our website, 10minutetrades.com, and opt in to watch the movie, How to Find Your Own 10-Minute Trades, you can get our free schedule just by going to the website, 10minutetrades.com. That will give you an idea about what I'm talking about when I say that we trade on a schedule. So for example, before I just get into my presentation, every week I spend my Thursday, part of my Thursday, coming up with next week's schedule. Now this is this week's schedule. We're still in this week. And we had retail sales this morning, capacity utilization, natural gas storage, the gold open, the oil open. Tomorrow we've got University of Michigan. But if you notice, everything is timed. University of Michigan is 10 o'clock. The oil open is 9 o'clock. The WASDE grain report, that was noon on Monday. So I have a weekly schedule. I'm trading by that schedule. I'm not going to load up my computer, start looking at my charts until a couple of minutes before I'm ready to trade. I don't have to watch the markets for hours and hours and hours waiting for a setup. I'm going to trade by appointment, and the market is always there available for your appointments. It's a great way to trade. It's a simple time-based approach to trading. You can schedule your trades on specific days at specific times up to a month in advance. Personally, I like to do it mostly a week in advance, just so the schedule doesn't change that much. Best of all trading has risk, obviously, but appointment-based trading, and it's really news trading, is no riskier than other forms of trading. The reason people don't like to call it news trading is because it's an old wives' tale that news trading doesn't work, that news trading is going to blow out your account. News trading is going to cost you to lose money. Totally untrue. If you have a system in place, you know when the news is, you have a setup, you have risk management in place, why would it be any riskier than any other method of trading? It's not. So why appointment-based trades? Like I said, I love trading, but I hate being in the market all day. I want to be in the market as little as possible. And over the years, I found that the less I trade, the more I make. Most trading is boring. You sit around for hours praying for a setup. If you blink at the wrong time, get up, you miss your trade. Everything else is so subjective. Elliott waves, candlestick patterns, Fibonacci, Ichimoku clouds, everybody analyzes them and comes up with different results. An appointment-based trading system is easy compared to all the technical analysis. These trigger events, they happen on a regular, predictable schedule, and the markets react, good, bad, and sometimes both. Once you know how to handle the moves and you have the right software to compensate for and reduce human error, it's much simpler than complex setups that take hours to take place, and sometimes they never take place. Appointment-based trades are quick. Most of our trades are over in less than 5 minutes. They're regular, predictable, and you can literally schedule all your trading and spend maybe an hour to 2 a week. Think about that. Then the other question people always hammer me about, if you're such a great trader, if you're making so much money, why do you teach instead of trading? And very honestly, I love to teach. The members that I teach, they make more money than me. I never lied. I never said that I was the greatest trader that ever lived. I think I'm a great teacher, but I'm a regular kind of trader just like you. But I can teach you to be a better trader than me, and that is where I excel. Also, when I teach people to trade, it makes me better at what I'm doing. So it makes me a better teacher and a better trader. I love to teach. It definitely ups your game when you teach. It forces you to look at everything, to break everything down, and figure out why the system you've chosen to trade is working so well. And then the biggest reason that I love to teach is I love to see the screenshots from my trade room members. Every day they send us screenshots. Job report results, for instance, one of our members, $703 on a recent jobs report. That's the US jobs report. That's a monthly report. Another jobs report, $290 profit. Members trade earnings with us. They traded US retail sales with me this morning. They traded the Australian jobs report with me last night. And anybody who listened to what I said last night and this morning made money on those trades. Anybody that traded the oil open with me this morning made money on that trade. I have a system, and we have a system that works really, really well. So what triggers an appointment-based trade? What's the key? High impact economic reports. That's number one. So what's a high impact economic report? GDP, CPI, PPI, jobs, okay? Those are economic reports. Also, energy reports. How much storage, how much oil is in storage, how much natural gas is available. Those types of reports move markets. Big company earnings reports move markets. We trade, one of my favorite reports that we teach our members how to trade, Apple earnings. So let me show you a quick Apple earnings trade. I hope I have it here. If I don't, I will get it. So give me 1 second. Apple, something happened in the market it's almost a year now, but whoever decided to do what they did gave us a gift. They decided to stop closing the futures markets at 5:15 Eastern Time every day. And Apple, if you study the way Apple releases their earnings, I'll tell you this. I don't want to give it away because that's what our members come into our room for. But Apple was significantly impacted. Trading Apple earnings was significantly impacted by the fact that the markets closed from 4:15 to 4:30. It was really difficult to trade Apple's earnings because of that. And then the market changed, and let me just show you a recent Apple earnings trade. Apple's one of my all-time favorite, if not my favorite earnings trade. We have software. It puts brackets, orders on the NinjaTrader charts. I also use other broker charts while I'm using NinjaTrader. So I'm actually watching the Apple stock so I know if the earnings have been released. And then I have an order to bracket the price of the NQ futures. I'm actually trading the NQ futures. The trade lasted 3 seconds and I made, I think that was, might have been the $2,000 Apple trade. Nope, that was $890. So in a matter of 3 seconds, it's over. That's how long the trade took, $890. That's trading by appointment, and earnings are one of our trigger categories. Trigger category number 3, end of day trades, market open trades. It might be tweets. It might be the Fed speaking. It might be a news conference. There's all sorts of events that might trigger trading on an appointment basis. There are hundreds of triggers within those 3 categories: earnings, market, economic reports, end of day, beginning of day. There's hundreds of triggers within those 3, just those 3 categories. And you can intelligently pick and choose the trades and the events that you want to be involved with. You want it, what I always tell everybody, anyone that I'm teaching, is obviously, it's so obvious, trade the events that are going to give you the best possibility of a profit. It seems silly and it seems like it's common sense, but why would you trade natural gas? We did not trade natural gas today because 5 out of the last 6 natural gas reports were unsafe. So what's going to happen today? Maybe it'll work today, but the odds are good that natural gas is going through something that makes it unsafe to trade right now. So trade something else. Trade oil. Trade University of Michigan, consumer confidence. There's so many others to choose from. Don't try to fit a square peg into a round hole. Wait until it's working and then trade the report. So let me show you what I mean when I say there's hundreds of these triggers available. So how do we find these trades? It's really easy. I'm sure all of you know and are familiar with Forex Factory, investing.com, all the calendars that we like so much and that we use to look at them for information. So if you look at a website like forexfactory.com, if you click on calendar, you get a full week of events that are taking place in the markets. You can just scroll up and down, and they're color coded, okay? Now, one of the reasons you want to get involved with us is because sometimes these calendars aren't as smart as we are, and they don't color code them properly. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the way they code natural gas is every Thursday, and it's color coded light yellow, which means low impact. Natural gas is the highest impact event, maybe other than the Fed statement, that you could try to trade. Maybe it's even a higher volatility than the Fed statement. That's how volatile it is. What that means is at the moment that the Fed changes the interest rate, there's going to be an incredible move of volatility in certain markets. Those volatility moves are what we are trading, okay? We're trading that volatility. So I don't have to study exploding candle patterns. I don't have to study shoulders, upside down shoulders, inside out shoulders. I don't have to worry about shoulders at all. I'm not looking at anybody's shoulder. I'm just looking at the event. I feel lucky that I don't have to learn all that technical analysis. It's hard. It takes time. Erin's an expert at it, and she is great at it. I was really impressed. It takes time. I personally would rather look at events and study an event and see if that event is something that we can trade. And that's the approach that we take. It's very different. If you look at Forex Factory, you'll notice U.S. retail sales is a red. That's true. It's a red. It moves markets. Chinese retail sales, it's an orange. It might move certain markets. Tomorrow, University of Michigan, did you know that that's a consumer confidence and an inflation report? You can bet that that's going to move the market. And then I could look on Forex Factory for next week by clicking this little arrow. And now I can see what's going on next week. Canada CPI, that's going to probably move the Canadian dollar. FOMC statement, you know we'll be trading that. It's going to be the British official bank statement. Bank statements are my favorites. They move the markets like crazy. So we find these triggers, and those are the events we study, and that's how we find them. We use the various calendars, and all of these calendars that we use, all of these companies, investing.com, Forex Factory, they all have really nice calendars. Investing.com is another favorite. I click on next week, and they have a calendar, and they show me all the events that they think are important. So it's my job, because this is what I'm interested in and this is what I do. I've got to make the schedule. So I go through a variety of calendars and I put together a schedule of all the events that we're going to study and get ready to trade. And that's how we find those events. Then over the years, what we've done is we start back testing these reports. We study the markets and we figure out which instrument to trade. What instrument is moving when the Fed makes an announcement? What instrument is moving when there's an oil report? Well, what do you think is going to move when there's an oil report? Oil futures, right? But did you know that sometimes oil futures might move on a jobs report? Or that oil futures might move on a CPI report? We actually traded oil futures on this week's CPI report, and we made money. You got to think outside the box also. So why do these reports work? The reports work. Why does the quarterly grain report work, which is another one of my favorites? Quarterly grains, September 30th. It's coming up. There hasn't been a losing quarterly grain report. I think it's been 2 years at least. That's 8 in a row. I think there was one dull report. Every other one was a big winner or an excellent winner. Let me show you a quarterly grain report and why it works. And I'll tell you this, the most recent quarterly grain report was in June, and it was a winner. I may not have that video, but I have the previous quarterly grain, so I'm sure you believe me. If I say it's a winner, I'm sure you believe that I'm telling you the truth. One of my favorite quarterly grain reports was last June because it was just so explosive. So let's talk about why it does what it does, though. That's the important thing. So the quarterly grain report is a government report that talks about acres of planting, and it talks about the corn market, importing and exporting, and it talks about the soybean market. That report, when it gets released, dramatically moves the corn and the soybean market in a tradable manner. And that's the key. My software puts orders on the chart to trade the corn market. We know what time the report gets released. It has a reliable release time. This trade was a monster. Took a few seconds. The news comes out. The price explodes. $1,037. That was a 3-second in the market trade. 3 seconds. Quarterly grains report. This week we had the WASDE report. Now the WASDE report is like a monthly quarterly grains. But you know, WASDE, we've been struggling with WASDE a little bit. But we do something special. We study and we practice and we test and we find new setups if we're struggling with an event. So let me see if I wasn't planning on showing WASD today, and I just remembered it was a winner. So let me show you the WASD report. But here's what's important about the report. So here is my charts before the report. But let me see if I can find what we call, the reason I'm here today is the DMM, the Daily Market Mover Report. So let me find it and show it to you. Hopefully I can. Okay. Here's our WASD report. Now this WASD report explains how we're going to trade the report. Now I actually have a slightly newer WASD report. You'll have to trust me. This was last month's, and we're a month later, and we have a different way of trading the WASD report. Again, it's a grain report, and what we're doing is we're trading a setup. Oh, beautiful. I actually, in my video, is part of our Daily Market Mover report. The Daily Market Mover is a report that we send our members the day before an event takes place, and it explains how we're going to trade the event. All right? The WASD report has this trap setup, and that explains that I'm going to put 2 orders above the current price, 2 orders below the current price. 5 seconds before the event takes place, I've got targets and stops, and when that report comes out, I'm looking to get pulled into the market, and then I'm looking to get out in a couple of seconds with a profit. So here's the WASD report. My software set up those brackets. I've got 2 orders above the current price, 2 orders below the current price. The news is a noon report, and it's very reliable. The news comes out. Soybeans, if you were watching the right, explode to the upside. Corn had a slower, smaller move, and I waited it out, expecting, not really knowing what to expect. I was expecting to get filled, and I was a little surprised I didn't get filled right away. I thought maybe nothing was going to happen, and then it goes up, it goes through my order. I'm selling it when it goes up, so I'm short. It went up and I sold. It reversed, and I took a profit right about here where I was there, and we made about roughly $150 on that trade. It wasn't as big a mover as actually soybeans were. That month, I traded corn. Next month, maybe we'll trade soybeans, or maybe we'll trade both. You can trade both. NinjaTrader, the platform that we use, if you have 2 charts open, you could actually have 2 different setups on each chart. And if you're comfortable handling 2 trades, fast-moving trades going on at one time, then you can trade both. So again, why did these reports work? Because specific information is released, usually by the government or by a bank, at a set time every month or every quarter or every week or every day if you trade opens. And that news, that event affects the instrument you're trading. The news causes volatility in the index, and we trade that volatility, okay? So we are volatility traders. Call it what you will. Call it news trading, call it appointment-based trading, call it day trading. No matter what we call it, we have a system in place so that obviously we want to be as safe as possible trading volatility. So now you know on your own how you could find hundreds of these trades. The calendars, forexfactory.com, investing.com, financialjuice.com, fxstreet.com, econoday.com. Very valuable websites. But how would you like to save some time and have only the best trades delivered to you on a silver platter? We've spent the past 10 years, thousands of hours researching and backtesting appointment-based trades. We've narrowed the field down from hundreds, you've seen them, hundreds of trades on those calendars, to just the top 1 to 3 trades of the day, and those are the ones we focus on in our daily trading. And you now know why these 1 to 3 trades each day are the best. They're the best because they have the highest probability of moving the markets and thus the highest probability of resulting in a profitable trade. We call these the daily market movers. Every day, at least 4 times a week, we send out a 1-page report on each of the top 1 to 3 daily market movers for the next day. So you know what the schedule is going to be for tomorrow, today, okay? You get a full day to get ready. And in fact, if you're with us for a few months, you get months to get ready because you know that we trade the same events over and over. Of course, we're always adding new ones, but many of the events are the same and we trade them every month. Every daily market mover report includes the trade trigger. What's the event? Is it the jobs report? Is it the oil report? The time of day for the trigger, the market we're trading, the historical performance of the trade, the risk level of the trade, our recommendations when to enter and exit the trade, targets and stops that we're using, and a personal trade journal that shows how we've traded the last 6 events. That's the daily market mover. Plus, there's a narrative about the event. Here's an example of a recent daily market mover. Let me just show you today's. Because today, and actually yesterday's, was fabulous. And I'll tell you why. I'll show you what happened yesterday. Last night, we have a trade room, of course, because this is something that's so much fun to do with other people. And we all came into the trade room. It was pretty late. It was like 9 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know very many trade rooms that function 9 o'clock at night and make money for their members. But last night was potentially a very challenging evening. The Australia jobs report has been very liquidity challenged. I guess that's the best way that I could explain it. It's been liquidity challenged in the sense that there's been a lot of whipsaws. We got stopped out of the last trade and didn't make money. And I noticed that last night we were being faced with a situation where if you trade futures, you know that they change contracts at a certain time of the month. And that time of the month is called rollover. All right, so here's the Australia Jobs Daily Market Mover Report. And here's the key. I knew that last night was going to be a liquidity challenged event. And what that means, that's a fancy way of saying volume was going to be low and there was not going to be a heck of a lot of orders to get us a good fill. So we have a setup called a trap trade, and we documented that trap trade in our DMM for our members, and I'm crossing it out by accident, but just that's fine. And we explained how I was going to trade that trade last night as a specialized reversal trade, and let me show you what happened, because it was fabulous. It was like, I looked really smart. I'm not as smart as I looked last night, but last night was kind of special. I came into the room and I said to everybody, if we trade the breakout, we'll probably lose money. We're in the middle of rollover. The new contract is going to be in effect tomorrow. So we have 2 contracts that are splitting the volume, and the volume is so low, if we don't do a reversal trade, we're not going to get a fill. Anybody that traded with me last night made money, because watch what happened. Our software puts orders on the chart above and below the current price. Couple of seconds before the Australian jobs report comes out. If the price goes up, remember, I'm selling. If the price goes down, I'm buying. Now, you're not even going to see what happened. The setup was so perfect. In a matter of a nanosecond, I was out of the trade with over $300 in profit. In a nanosecond. Watch. News came out, trade's over. Trade's over. I'm positive $310. Why? Price went up, put me short. Price went down, hit my targets, and I was profitable 300. Watch it one more time. Our daily market mover, we trade only futures, Stephanie, only futures. Our daily market mover explained to everyone how to trade it. So you can trade it from home. You don't need me. Put orders above, put orders below. News comes out, trade's over. Now, I would be a liar if I said they all work perfectly. Every trade doesn't work perfectly, but that one was a dream, and there are many dream trades. We traded the U.S. retail report this morning, and that was a very, very nice trap trade winner also. We traded the oil open, which is a different type of trade for us, but we do that almost every morning. That was a nice winner. Obviously, not every trade is a winner, but so many are good, solid trades. If you learn to trade the best of the best events, then you can be a successful news trader. The key is to practice, do a little bit of back testing, and learn how to look at an event and get an idea of what might happen time after time after time. A daily market mover report looks like this. It has the trigger, the event, the risk, the market we recommend trading, some history. The yellow line is actually our setup. It has stops and targets, activation time. Then we have a little journal that talks about how we're going to trade the next trade. And then we have text just talking about the event and why we love trading the event so much. That's the daily market mover. You can see that we put a lot of time and energy into these reports, a ton of time and energy. A monthly subscription to the daily market movers is $67 a month, and I'm telling you it's worth every penny. Even if you don't trade, even if you just want to know what the important events of the week are, $67 a month is a great way to know, A, when to not be in the market if you're discretionary trading, because you don't want to get caught in a news trade. B, maybe it's something you'll get interested in. Maybe you're going to want to learn how to trade these events. So I have an opportunity because you're here. We have a 90-day offer of the daily market movers for just a fraction of our regular price. Also, if you take me up on my offer today, you'll get a free week in our trade room starting next week at no additional charge, but the offer expires tonight at midnight for the free trade room. So you've got to take me up on my deal for the daily market movers before midnight. Here's the deal. Take action today. 90 days is what you'll get of the daily market movers, a full 3 months for just $47 for the whole 90 days. Yes, that's right, fans. $47. That's a $201 value, $67 a month times 3 months would be $201, and it's just $47. Not 47 a month, 47 total for the entire 90 days. It's a fabulous discount. Just go to www.getdmmnow.com, and I promise I will also include a free week in our trade room. We always keep our word. People love coming into our trade room, learning all about the news that we trade, everything. It's really fun, and I'm a really fun person. I take it very, very seriously, but I like to think I'm not totally boring, and we have a really good active community of traders in our trade room. This is not a subscription. It's a one-time investment. We're not going to auto-renew it, and we're not going to charge you again at the end of 90 days. It's just one time. We believe you'll love the daily market movers so much that you'll automatically renew. on your own manually at the end of the 90 days. But if you don't continue, it's fine. We'll part as friends and we'll never charge you again. So get the Daily Market Movers plus a free week in our trade room. It's just $47, no auto renew. www.getdmmnow.com. So I'd like to go through the questions and I'd like to show you one or two more trades. I'd like to show you the Daily Market Mover that created the trade, and then I'll show you the trade. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do. So let me answer everybody's questions first. And I do want to thank all my members that are in this room supporting me one more time. Doc, I see you here. Thanks so much. Susanna, I see you here. Thanks so much for supporting me. You know how much I appreciate it. So let me just get this, make sure I'm answering the right questions. So Jeff has a couple of questions from Australia. Australia, is our room open at different hours when the events happen? Such as if the event is at 5:30 a.m., that might be 8 p.m. Australia time. Jeff, we are going to be open for the event. Obviously, not Australia time, but if it's an 8 o'clock event Eastern time, then we're going to be, of course, open at 8 a.m. Eastern time. But we do trade multiple Australian reports as well. Australia jobs, the Reserve Bank of Australia rate statement, Australia GDP and CPI. So there's at least 4 Australian reports almost every month. A couple of them are quarterly reports, but we absolutely trade all different times of the day. So he has a second question. How do you handle news events that spike really high or really low? Hopefully we get in the market really low and then it goes high, and then hopefully we get in the market really high and then it goes really low. And I mean, I'm being honest, we have software also that helps us enter the trades before the news, Jeff. So that's what helps us get into the trade before the event. That's how we deal with the volatility. So we trade mostly futures. All right, so Hubert says that his friend Greg invited him here. Okay, Hubert, they'll definitely give you information about Traders Corner, no problem. So I don't see any other questions. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you need to reach me or want to reach me, don't forget we trade appointment-based trading using the NinjaTrader platform. We trade futures. Free week in the trade room, www.getdmmnow.com. You can reach me also at help@10minutetrades.com. help@10minutetrades.com. Let me show you just one more event, and I will show you one of our European events. I got up 3 in the morning for the German Flash Services Manufacturing. Now, this happens to be not the newest DMM, but I got up last month, and just to save time, because I'm running out of time, I'll show you my July trade. My August trade was also a winner. This was a $400 profit trading the French and the German flash manufacturing reports. Here's an idea of what the German report looks like. The price came out, price shoots down. That particular report happened to bounce up and down. So I only made $156 on that report. It bounced up and down enough to hit my second target, my first target, and then it hit my stop because I had moved my stop into profit. Okay? How do you handle trades that you cannot close when your software tries, but you cannot close it? Well, Jeff, in the 6 years that I've been doing this, I've only had one instance where I had to call the broker to get me out of a trade. So you can always get out of a trade. The worst thing that could ever happen is a trade, and this could happen on any trade, could go out of control. You can just close your platform and reboot it, and then you can almost always get yourself out of an emergency situation. But I'm telling you, in all honesty, it's only happened to me once in 6 years. There are times when a trade goes out of control and you might have to hit the close button to get out of the trade. But how many trades do we have where we have positive slippage and make more money than we expected to make? That happens just as many times. And that's the thing that people don't recognize. And the reason that news trade got a bad rap is because people only worried about the things that went bad. They never forgot about the things that worked out. Trades that gave you more money than you expected. One more to end this presentation. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Another quarterly grains reports, because they've been so fantastic. You know what? Let me just show you a normal report. Nothing out of the ordinary. We traded oil on this week's PPI report, which was way outside the box. Something, when this company first started, they used to trade oil on every single trade. That's what's so amazing. Well, this morning on the PPI report, I'm trading oil, October contract. The PPI came out. It was probably too volatile to trade with the NQ or the ES, but oil, it filled me. It filled me long. Up, you know what? Hold on. PPI stopped me. Let me show you CPI, which was the winner. So give me one more second. So I tried to do the exact same thing on PPI, and the NASDAQ was the winning trade, and oil did not work on PPI, but on CPI it did. So it's so interesting and unique. Let me just show you, because I was surprised that it worked. I hope that I have the trade. Here it is. Okay. So CPI, we traded oil, like I said. The news comes out. We created what we call a range trade, and we waited for the volatility to pass, and then 3 seconds after the event, our orders were on the chart. Those X's were my orders. I get filled to the short side, and it hits my 20 tick target for a $220 profitable trade. Very outside the box, a very unusual trading method. So I want to thank Rob for having me on Traders Corner. Really appreciate it. So www.getdmmnow.com. And Rob, thanks for having me.
Lee, thank you so much for being here. I always enjoy your presentation. Every time I hear it, I love it more and more. The brackets are awesome. The fact that you use limit orders so that the trade can't go nuts and they're pre-put on the chart, is might have been the answer your guy was looking for. But I love the software that automatically gets you in on the trade on the right side. And I appreciate the fact that you went the other way and showed the ones that are known more to whipsaw than to break out in a single direction. That was really interesting.
It's a little bit different.
But thank you so much. But thank you so much for joining us. I love your service. We hear amazing things about it. Congratulations. Have a great weekend, sir. I heard you crush it.
Thanks, Rob, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Lee Goldstein of 10 Minute Trading.